Welcome everyone to Nikki Loves Books. Nikki here, and today we have our first ever Arcane Society unboxing to do. So this is the August-September Arcane Society book box. A little bit late, but not too bad. So I had signed up for Arcane Society a while ago. So if you guys remember on this channel, if you've been with me for a while, I had Page and Wick at the beginning of 2024. So basically at that time, it was the end of 2023, I had the income to try out another box. And so I signed up on the wait list for a bunch of companies, one being Arcane Society. So I ended up being taken off the wait list for Page and Wick first. I tried them out and I ended up canceling after I think getting 2 or 3 books from them. And it was just because the shipping was a lot. It was a UK company and ultimately I wasn't in love with the box. Like the books were really, really pretty. The only other item that comes with that box, Page and Wick, is a candle. And I wasn't a fan of any of the candles. So it just made sense for me to cancel that box. And at that time when I canceled, then I was taken off the wait list for Fabled Co. And I was super excited because that is a box that has a lot of emphasis on romance. And they had 3 different boxes that you could combine. And it was just books. So I'm like, oh, I can do 3 books all at once. And it was all great. Super excited. And then right after I signed up, they pulled out from having a warehouse in America. And so then I was stuck in the same thing with Page and Wick where the shipping was very, very pricey. Fabled Co. is from Australia. So now it's shipping from Australia to me. And I was just like, no, that's not going to work out. So I ended up canceling Fabled Co. So I was just like, you know what? Like, it's cool. I don't need another box. And not to mention too, my bank account's really not loving it. Then I got an email from Arcane Society saying like, hey, you've been taken off the wait list. Here's your sign up. And I was like, ooh, do I want this? And I did specifically because I wanted these books. So from this box, really, really excited. Literally past me did me a huge favor because then right after I was just like, yeah, let me sign up. I want to get these books. And I figured I'd get this box, see how it rolls and maybe cancel if needed like I did with the other ones. And Arcane Society announced that they were doing From Blood and Ash series special edition. And I was like, yay me, thank you past self for signing up for that wait list because I've literally been waiting for another From Blood and Ash special edition because I missed out on the Bookish Box one. So I'm very happy with myself that I signed up for Arcane Society and that I got off the wait list when I did. And it ultimately worked out for me in the long run. So I'm super stoked. Thank you, past Nikki, for thinking ahead without meaning to. So getting into our box, please remember that this is not a goodie box. So Arcane Society is only books. So let's take a look. Maybe I misspoke because there's also a pin, but I don't know if this is a pin because this is my first box and this is like their pin for Arcane Society or if this is exclusive to this box. I have no clue. There is no pamphlet or booklet that goes with this box. It's just you open the box and you got what you got. Honestly, I'm going to assume that this might just be a one-off thing and simply could be because I'm a new subscriber. I have no idea. I don't really care for pins, but this one's kind of cool. I actually like it. It's got the elements. You got water, air, fire, and then earth, and a sword. And I'm like, that's a pretty cool pin. So most likely I will be keeping this. Before revealing the books, I want to say a few things about Arcane Society that I like thus far. And one of them being that it is an every other month box, but it's 2 books per box. So it kind of makes up for the every other month. It's 2 books, but that also means that you're only charged every other month. I don't know if shipping ends up being less that way with just 1 box every other month versus, 2 different boxes being sent to you every single month. The other thing that I like about them is that they announce ahead of time the author and the books that they're doing. So that is really nice because you can take a look and really decide like, do I want these books or do I want to pass them? I have not looked into detail on their skip policy. They did design it in a way that they did tell you, so I kind of feel like they have a pretty generous skip policy, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do appreciate the fact that they at least tell you what books you're getting, so that way you can really make an informed decision. So our books this month are Lady of Darkness and Lady of Shadows by Melissa K. Roehrich. So Lady of Darkness is a book that I've heard a lot of buzz about, and it was just one of those books that I'm like, I want to read it, did not own it, and then again, when Arcane Society was just like, hey, you're up off the waiting list, it was this book that I was like, oh yes, please. So we, of course, have a beautiful foiled special edition cover. I just like all those tiny details, especially with that foiling. And then we have a beautiful sword on the back. We have stenciled edges. The cover's not reversible, just FYI, just one cover. But we also have a foiled hardcover case. Absolutely stunning illustrated end papers. There's also some illustration on the beginning of each chapter inside, and it is signed by the author. So before we move on to Lady of Shadows, I want to tell you about Lady of Darkness. So Lady of Darkness is a 5-book series that is complete. So books 1 through 5 are already out. All 5 books have a 4 point something out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And I'm just going to read the synopsis of the first book because, of course, I don't want to give any spoilers for the second book. A cage. Owned by a ruthless assassin lord, Scarlet Monroe and her 2 sisters have been trained since they were children to torture and take life. They are the most feared trio on the continent, but they are also wild and unpredictable. A tragic night has Scarlet finding herself locked away in a noble's household, trapped and forgotten until she's ready to fall in line. A choice, until the day she's presented with a job. If she completes the assignment, her payment will be something she has coveted for 10 years. Revenge against the Fae Fire Prince, who brutally killed her mother 10 years ago. Is she willing to sacrifice her ideals for retribution? A mystery. But when children begin disappearing from her home, all her plans are put on hold as she races to save the most innocent. With the help of old friends, a jilted lover, and a mysterious newcomer who claims the magic of the Fae is possible in the mortal lands, Scarlet delves into the darkest corners of the world. Forgotten secrets will come to light, and she will discover the darkness extends far beyond her own kingdom. And just so you guys know, Lady of Darkness is a fantasy romance book, and I believe has some spice, so I'm looking forward to reading it for sure. All right, and for our Lady of Shadows, we of course have a matching, beautiful, stunning cover. I love all that foil detail. It's so, so pretty. Here's our back. We have our foiled hardcover case, stenciled edges, and then illustrated end papers once again. And as well as the illustrations on the beginning of each chapter inside. Looks like we also have an author letter and then 2 art prints. And that's all we got today. So I am just starting The Stars Are Dying, which was my Owl Crate adult fantasy book from October. And then I will be able to jump into Lady of Darkness, and really hoping to hear that Arcane Society is going to come out with the other 3 books in Lady of Darkness series so I can have a matching set. Please be sure to like this video if you want to see me do more unboxings. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this box, if you liked the book design, and then of course make sure you subscribe to join me for all the bookish fun. Thanks so much, everyone.